Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into something you hear debated a lot. Is Britain still, a real global player? Or has it maybe slipped into being more of a spectator on the world stage? Our mission here is to unpack what being a global player actually means today and figure out where the UK fits in based on the sources you've shared with us.
Right. And maybe to start, let's get clear on what we mean by global player. It's not just being wealthy, right? It's about having enough political, economic, military, and diplomatic muscle to actually influence things. Global decisions, alliances, how markets move.
So influencing, not just reacting.
Exactly. It's about being, in the room where it happens, helping set the agenda, not just reading about it afterwards. Not every rich country qualifies, really.
That's a really useful distinction. In Britain, well, it used to be the textback example, didn't it? The empire.
Oh, absolutely.
So maybe give us the quick history. How did we get from that point to this discussion now?
Sure. It's quite a journey. Back in the 19th century, you had the British Empire controlling something like a quarter of the world's land and people. Huge. The Royal Navy dominated the seas. London was the undisputed financial hub. Just massive global power.
Unimaginable today, almost.
Right. Then came World War II. Britain was on the winning side, of course, but profoundly weakened. Decolonization sped up massively, and suddenly you had the U.S. and the Soviet Union as the new superpowers. Totally different world order.
So where did the UK fit in then during the Cold War?
It was still significant. A key NATO ally, developed nuclear weapons, got that permanent seat on the UN Security Council, so still very relevant. Then through the 90s and 2000s, it was a very strong U.S. ally, played big roles in the Gulf War, Kosovo, Afghanistan, Iraq.
Yeah, I remember that period well.
But then the big shift, the really recent one, was Brexit in 2016. That fundamentally changed its relationship with Europe and, well, reduced its direct influence over EU policy quite dramatically.
And that's where Global Britain came in, that slogan.
Exactly. It was meant to signal, a comeback onto the world stage, a new direction. But the big question we're looking at today is, has it actually worked? Has that vision become reality? Now, if we look around today, who are the really dominant players? Well, the U.S. is still, top dog across the board. Military, economy, culture, diplomacy.
Still number one.
Yeah. Then you've got China. Second biggest economy, military growing fast, huge influence, especially in Asia, Africa, global trade.
Yeah.
It's a massive player.
Right.
The European Union as a bloc is incredibly powerful, too. A sort of regulatory superpower, really. Top trading partner for so many countries.
People sometimes forget the EU's collective weight.
They do. And then there's Russia. Military power, big energy player, that UN seat, often plays the role of strategic disruptor. And India, huge population, economy booming, growing digital influence. Definitely a rising middle power with serious geopolitical weight.
And others, like Japan or Brazil.
Yeah, you have others like Japan, Brazil, Turkey, Saudi Arabia. They play important roles, often in specific niches, but maybe lack that broad systemic influence of the biggest players.
Okay, so that's the current league table, more or less.
Yeah.
Where does the UK actually fit into that mix right now? Let's break down its position, maybe category by category from the sources.
Let's do that. Militarily, the UK is still strong, definitely. It has nuclear weapons. It's one of the few navies with aircraft carriers. And its intelligence services, MI6, GCHQ, they're genuinely world-class, highly respected.
But there are caveats.
There are. The sources point this out clearly. The overall force size is smaller than its ambitions might suggest. There's a growing dependence on U.S. logistics for major operations. And the defense budget always seems stretched thin.
So the verdict there is?
The sources kind of summarize it as still respected, but not feared. Not like it perhaps once was.
Respected, but not feared. That's a potent phrase. What does that mean in practice? They can join coalitions, but maybe not lead huge unilateral action.
Pretty much. They bring valuable capabilities, intelligence, high-end forces, but projecting power independently on a massive scale, sustaining it, that's much harder without major allies, especially the U.S. Economically, the UK is now, sixth largest globally. India recently overtook it.
Right.
It still has that huge financial services sector in the City of London, which is a massive global asset, no question. But the challenges are there too. Slower growth post-Brexit, that investment uncertainty we've seen, and those nagging productivity issues that have been around for a while.
So the economic picture is...
The take seems to be not in decline necessarily, but no longer core to the economic engine of the West.
No longer core. That really hits home. Does that mean its influence is more specialized now? Less about setting the broad economic rules?
I think that's fair. Still a financial powerhouse, absolutely.
Right.
But shaping the wider European economic landscape,
Mm.
and through that, the global rules. That's definitely diminished.
Hmm.
Diplomatically, though, it still holds some very important cards. That permanent seat on the UN Security Council is huge. Membership in the G7, these are top tables.
And soft power. The BBC universities.
Exactly. Still incredibly potent. The BBC World Service, world-class universities, the English language itself, British culture. These things have real global reach and influence. But, and it's a big but, the sources emphasize, there's significantly less influence in Brussels after Brexit. That direct channel to shape EU-wide policy is gone.
And that was a major tool in its diplomatic kit before, was
A
it?
huge one. It amplified its voice on many global issues. Finally, trade and tech. Well, obviously, losing frictionless access to the EU single market, that's a big deal. And the sources suggest the UK is lagging behind the US, China, and the EU in really crucial future areas: AI, green tech, chip production.
There are new trade deals, though, like that Pacific one, CPTPP.
Yes, there are efforts to build new partnerships, like
Okay.
joining the CPTPP. But these are generally smaller in scope compared to the deep integration it had with the EU market.
Okay, so that's the snapshot of where the UK is now. But you mentioned earlier it's not just about stats. What are those deeper things, those fundamentals, that really make a country a global player today, beyond just GDP or army size? And how is the UK doing on those fronts?
Yeah, this is crucial. True global influence needs more. First, economic weight isn't just size, it's the power to shape rules, to shape markets. Second, military reach, genuine power projection capability. Third, and this is a big one the sources hit on, political consistency, stable leadership, predictable policies.
And that's been a bit shaky in the UK recently.
Well, the phrase used is revolving door leadership, pointing to 5 PMs in 8 years. That kind of churn inevitably impacts credibility and long-term strategy. Fourth, you need institutional depth, strong civil service, influential think tanks, top-tier intelligence, which the UK generally has. Fifth, strategic vision, the ability to think 10, 20 years ahead, not just react to the latest crisis or plan for the next election. And sixth, coalition building ability. Being able to influence allies, sure, but also key players in the global south. Plus, sustained public investment in those future sectors: AI, energy, chips, biotech, space.
And the UK's performance against those deeper requirements.
The overall feeling is some of these, yes, but inconsistently. That post-Brexit political turbulence and budget pressures have definitely weakened its standing on consistency and long-term investment fronts.
That point on political consistency really strikes me. You can see how domestic stability, or lack of it, directly projects outwards onto the world stage, can't you?
Absolutely. Predictability is a valuable currency in international relations.
So given all that, what could the UK actually do differently? What are the concrete steps it could take to, well, either rebuild or at least shore up its global standing?
Right, the path forward. Well, several things come up. One idea is to really double down on global institutions. Not just show up, but actively push for reforms at the UN, WTO, IMF. Take the lead on new challenges like AI governance or climate finance.
Use its existing seats more proactively.
Exactly. Second, rebuild economic influence. That means serious investment in tech R&D, green industries maybe on the scale Germany or South Korea have managed. Lead in specific areas like fintech, AI regulation, cyber standards, and forge smart trade partnerships, ones focused on strategic alignment, not just tariffs.
Okay, smarter partnerships. What about the military?
Modernization needs clear purpose. It's not just about buying fancy kit. It's investing heavily in cyber, space capabilities, drones, and maintaining a real naval presence where it matters, like the Indo-Pacific, and working very closely with partners there: Japan, India, Australia.
Makes sense. And leveraging that soft power we talked about.
Definitely. Keep strongly supporting the BBC World Service, universities, the arts. Use the English language advantage, maybe, and its legal system's reputation to help shape global rules for the digital age.
And the last point you mentioned earlier, finding a niche.
Yes, owning a strategic niche, like Germany is doing with green industry, or France with its focus on Africa and space, or Japan and semiconductors. The UK could aim to be the indispensable leader in, say, AI ethics or quantum finance, or setting global digital security standards. find its unique contribution.
That's really interesting. So when you lay the UK alongside others, using those comparisons from the sources, what really jumps out at you? Any surprising contrasts?
Yeah, the comparisons are quite telling. The UK gets tagged as medium-high military economy, but crucially, no EU influence now, medium on tech, and this perception of being a historic power, losing edge.
Ouch, losing edge.
Yeah. Now look at Germany. Low military profile, but high economy, high tech, high EU influence, seen as a tech-led economic leader. Very different profile. France. Medium-high military, medium economy tech, but yes to EU influence. Perceived as strategic, but less agile, perhaps.
So different strengths and weaknesses, different strategic positions.
Totally. And then you contrast all of them with India, the rising global south leader, or the sheer scale of the US and China, who are just playing a different game altogether.
Okay, so after digging through all of this, the big question, is Britain still a global player? What's the final verdict?
The consensus seems to be,
Yes.
yes, but a diminished one. It's operating more like a significant middle power, leveraging its legacy strengths rather than consistently setting the global agenda.
So not quite a spectator yet.
Not entirely, no.
Yeah.
It still has important assets and influence. But the warning is clear. It absolutely risks becoming more of a spectator if the trends of sort of short-term thinking, underinvestment in the future, and diplomatic drift continue.
So what does this all mean for you listening to this as you watch global politics and economic shifts play out? It seems the core message from our deep dive is that for the UK to really stay relevant, to stay in the game, it needs to seriously modernize its global outlook, lead on new issues, and maybe, just maybe, stop leaning quite so heavily on past glories.
That sums it up well. History got Britain its seat at the table, but it's the future, the choices made now, that will decide if it gets to keep it. And maybe a final thought for you to consider. What concrete steps, maybe even ones we haven't touched on, do you think would be most effective for the UK? Or maybe even more broadly, what does global power truly mean for any nation in the incredibly fast-changing world we live in today?
Thanks for watching the video.
We'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to share them in the comments below. If there's a specific topic you'd like us to cover next time, do let us know.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And if you found this one helpful, make sure to share it with others too.
See you in the next video.